Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another rules breakdown. And this time we're going to do Shadowrun 1st Edition, FASA's fantasy cyberpunk game from 1989. Now, Shadowrun is a D6 based system, which is why we have a cluster of D6s here. Now, if we flick to a character sheet, fortunately the rulebook has a bunch of set characters here. So let's have a look at the rocker. Now they've got a bunch of skills here: armed combat 3, bike 2, etiquette street 5, which we'll use. So the rocker's trying to speak to somebody. Now, skills tests, she's got 5 dice there. We go to the skills section. You've got skill success table. So you've got difficulties going from simple up to nearly impossible, and the target number goes up. So she's trying to use her street etiquette to speak to somebody she knows fairly well. So we'll say it's an average difficulty of 4. So she rolls her skill, and she actually fails. 5 dice all low. Now 1s count as auto fails. You can't get a target number lower than a 2. And if you roll all 1s, then your roll is a fumble. Target numbers here, 10. If you roll a 6, then you roll an add. So if I rolled one of the dice and it came up a 6, then I'd re-roll, and that would now be a 9. We also have levels of success. So for a street etiquette roll, would have said a barely achieved success would have succeeded, but she could get more information out of her street contact if she got noteworthy, praiseworthy, or exemplary success. So rolling 3 or 4 for noteworthy, 5 or 6 for praiseworthy, or 7+ for exemplary. So somebody might give her lots of information if she does far better at a roll, rather than just getting it. There's also the skill web, which allows you to go from skill to skill. So if your character has one outstanding skill, for example, athletics, your character has 10 dice in athletics, and you want to use it as a combat skill. Well, for every dot you go through on the web, it increases the target number by 2. So athletics, we've got 1, 2, 3 dots to combat skills, so +6. So although your target number's higher, if you're rolling a very large number of dice, let's say all of these was your massive athletic skill, we get some 6s in there, we re-roll and add them. So we've got a 7, a 10, an 11, and a 17. So using athletics as a combat skill could work out for you, because even with a +6 target number, those are some decent rolls. You can, of course, go absolutely ridiculous and go from athletics right through to military theory and things. So it was +6 to here, 8, so +8 to military theory, plus another 6, so +14 to psychology. So you could use your athletics as your psychology skill or your charisma. That's only a +14 to the target numbers, which is getting pretty ridiculously high. But that's how skills work in Shadowrun. Initiative in Shadowrun, you use the reaction attribute plus a d6. So your rocker here has a reaction of 4, plus 1d6, so this time she rolls a 9. If we look here, we can see about extra actions. So if you get a result of a 1 to a 10, you get to 1 action per turn. 11 to 16, 2 actions per turn. 17 to 22, 3 actions per turn. And 23 plus, you get 4 actions per turn. Now, the way the initiative works is people with cybernetic reflexes get extra dice to roll. So your street samurai and things will have far higher skills. If we look through here, we have a former company man with a reaction of 8 and wired reflexes 2. So he's got his reaction of 8. He rolls his d6 plus his wired reflexes give him an extra 2. So he's rolling 3d6. That's a terrible roll, but he gets a 16. So he gets a 6, sorry, plus 8. So that's 14. So he's in the 2 actions. Now, the way that works is he gets his first action along with everybody else, and then his second action by subtracting 7 from it. So the rocker's rolled 9 on hers. Where's the rocker gone? And the former company man's rolled 14. So the former company man goes on 14. The rocker goes in 9, and then the former company man goes again in 7. And that's the way combat works. You go from the highest number. So the company man at this time rolled 14. He's got the highest, so he goes first. And then you work ways down. Anybody get a 13, a 12, an 11, a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, back to him, and so on and so forth. And that's the way you work through initiative in Shadowrun. Putting us through this fictitious combat between the company man and the rocker. So the company man goes first. So he decides to shoot. And he has a firearm skill of 6. So we put 6 dice aside. Now, in Shadowrun, the target number you're rolling in combat is 4. However, the company man here has a smart gun link. So his target number is actually lowered to 2. So he is rolling 6 dice against a target number of 2. And he gets a massive 6 successes. Now, those 4 have all come out 6s, so we can re-roll an add to take the target numbers up. But he got 6 successes, he was only rolling against a target number of 4, so the re-rolls don't actually matter. Now, in Shadowrun, you don't actually get a dodge skill. What you get is a dodge pool. You also get a defense pool, which is used for hand-to-hand combat, but your dodge pool's relative here, or relevant here, because she's being shot at. So she gets a dodge pool, which is equal to her quickness, so 5 dice. Now, your dodge pool, you have to keep and split across any attacks. Now, in this fictitious combat, because she's only dodging 1 target, and her dodge pool will refresh on her action, she can spend it all. But if she was fighting 2 or 3 people, she might want to split off several dice to try and defend herself. But she's got 5 dice here. She's rolling against a target number of 4. She only gets 1, so the company man comes out with a net 5 successes. And that's how combat works. In hand-to-hand combat, of course, you're rolling your brawling or your unarmed combat or your armed combat skill against their defense pool. You've got cyber combat and things like that, but they roughly work the same way. Now, in this simulated combat between the former company man and the rocker, he's got a net of 5 successes on his attack, so we're on to damage. Now, looking down his equipment, we can see that he's got an HK-227 submachine gun, which will do more damage than anything else he's got. But we calculated the damage based on him using his smart gun adapter, and we can see that HK-227 doesn't actually have one. His Fischetti pistol with smart gun adapter does, so he must be using that. So we flick through to the equipment section. Wherever it is. Here it is. And the guns. And in pistols we have Fischetti Security 500 light pistol, which does 3 M2 damage. Now, the damage in Shadowrun is calculated using the power, the damage level, and then a staging number. So the first number's the power of the attack. Well, the attacker doesn't actually need to bother about that. That's for what the defender rolls against. The M means this is a moderate attack. And the 2 is how many successes you need to stage the damage up or down. So he has net of 5 successes. So he has 4, which stage it up from moderate to serious and up to deadly, because the damage levels in Shadowrun are light, moderate, serious, and deadly. So at the moment, he's doing a deadly wound. So it's 3d2 is what the rocker has to defend against. So we flick over to her character sheet, and first of all we look down for her armor, and she has studded synth leather jacket. So if we flick through to the armor, clothing and armor, we can see leather, real and synthetic, offers 0 ballistic, so that's no use against it at all. Now these count as auto successes in defending yourself. So we can see that if she was wearing a full suit of heavy armor, she'd have 8 auto successes. So it doesn't actually matter what she'd roll, because it would take it from deadly down to serious, down to moderate, down to light, and down to nothing. The 8 successes would automatically wipe out all the damage. Now, the extra successes the former company man could have done, he could have taken it up to deadly plus by getting more groups of 2s, taking it up to deadly +1, deadly +2, so she could only stage it down into more normal damage. Deadly isn't the maximum, but it's the maximum that can actually be done. Now, going back to her, she's going to resist the damage by rolling her body, which is 5. So we get 5 dice. Now she's operating against the power number of the attack, so she's trying to roll 3s. And she gets a marvellous roll there, 5 successes. So the damage gets taken from deadly, down to serious, down to moderate. So she takes a moderate wound. And if she'd got 1 success, auto success off her armor or something, that would have been 6 successes, and she'd have taken it down to a light wound. But as it is, she's taken a moderate wound. Okay, so we've decided she's got a moderate wound, but what does that actually mean? So in Shadowrun, if we go over to one of the character sheets, we can see they have condition monitors. And they have 10 boxes. Everybody has 10 boxes of health. It's based on your body, so if you're a troll or an orc and you've got a larger body, you resist damage more, but you still only have 10 levels of health in 1st edition Shadowrun. And a light wound fills in 1 box, a moderate wound fills in 3 boxes, a serious wound fills in 6 boxes, and a deadly wound fills in 10 boxes. So you can receive 10 light wounds before you get up to deadly, or 3 moderate wounds and a light up to deadly, etc. But when you reach these levels, you've received penalties. So your target numbers go up if you're lightly wounded by +1 and your initiative goes down by 1. When you reach moderate wounded, your target numbers go up by 2 and your initiative goes down by 2. And at serious wound, it goes up by 3 and your initiative goes down by 3. And of course, when you're up at deadly wounded, you're down and out. Now, there's cybernetics which get over this, which remove the penalties, but generally speaking, that's how it works. You've also got physical and mental damage, and these add together. So if you receive 2 light wounds, so a mental wound from a spell or feedback if you're decking or something like that, and a light wound because you're being shot, that'll be 2 +1s to your target number and 2 -1s. So you can get pretty messed up by filling up both tracks. Mental damage overflows to physical damage, but physical damage just means you're down on the ground and out. When you're down with mental damage, you're just unconscious. Further damage causes wounds, so it flows over into your physical track. Advancement in Shadowrun, because it's a cyberpunk game, you get technology and cyberware. So you can buy your cybernetics to enhance your body, increasing your wide reflexes so you go first, or increasing your body by adding armor and things like that. And these are all based on essence. Everybody starts with 6 points of essence, and the cybernetics you get chip away at that. If you reach 0 essence, there's not enough humanity left to keep you alive. Because the Shadowrun world's magical, basically your spirit slips free of your meaty parts and leaves. Essence is a sort of magical effect. And the other way of advancing yourself, apart from getting money and buying better armor and weapons, is through karma. Karma's basically the experience of Shadowrun. You get granted it at the end of an adventure, and you can keep it on your character sheet and use it as instant karma. So For example, earlier the rocker could have spent karma on re-rolling failures. When she tried to dodge, she could have re-rolled the 4 dice that failed by spending 1 point of karma. If she'd rolled an oops, she could have spent 1 to avoid that. She can buy successes. 2 points of karma would have bought successes. So on the damage roll, if she wanted to buy an extra success to take her 5 successes up to 6, which would have taken the damage down to light, she could have done that. Improve your chances. So you can improve the rolls of anyone who's trying to help you. So if somebody's trying to first aid you because you took a deadly wound, you can spend karma to buy their rolls up. And to save your butt, you can buy off your opponent's successes by spending 2 points per dice. But apart from that, you can spend karma for advancement. Now, you can spend it on your attributes, where it costs a 1-for-1 basis. So increasing your strength from 5 from 4 costs you 4 karma points. But all of your attributes have maximums based on what species you are. Humans are the dead average, and they have a maximum of 6 across the board. Trolls and orcs are stronger physically, elves have higher charisma and quickness, and so on and so forth. And your skills can be increased. Now, there is no maximum on skills, apart from how much you can pay for them. Now, general skills cost 2 times the current rating. Now, this is like your firearms skill. So, by buying it up, you can handle all guns. So, if you're buying your firearms skill up to 5 from 4, it will cost 8 points, 2 times its current rating. Now, concentrations are when you take the skill down to just a smaller group. So you have your firearms skill at 4, but you want to just be able to use rifles. So taking it up from 4 to 5 will cost you 1.5 times its current rating. So you'll be able to have your firearms at 4 and a rifle skill at 5 for 6 experience, 1.5 times the 4. And specializations are where you take it right down to a specific thing. So our company man could have taken it up to his HK 227 skill, and it would just cost 1 times the rating. So if he wanted to take his firearm skill at 4 up to an HK 227 skill at 5, it would only cost 4 karma. It wouldn't cost the 8 for the general skill. And languages skills are also cheap, which is very useful in Shadowrun when there's a lot of different cultures and a lot of different languages spoken, and they just cost 1 times the current rating as well. So that's the rules for Shadowrun First Edition. It's a game I absolutely adore. They got a lot of things very right straight out of the book. They changed a bunch of things later on, not in ways that I'm convinced for the better, but they definitely simplified it, because the first edition is quite quirky and overly complex. But it's a great game, and that should get you through a couple of sessions if you wanted to play Shadowrun First Edition. But there's tons and tons more in the rules. Obviously, Cyberware introduces its own quirks and oddities, and you've got magic, and you've got decking and all that thrown in there as well. But these are the basic rules, and that will get you through playing Shadowrun First Edition. Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching, as always. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.